Picks and bans for game number 2. Skt T stay on the blue side as BBQ elect for red.
Joining late, 824B, same as live patch, Nico and Xinjiao globally banned. See if BBQ are going to make any adaptations in the ban phase, things they don't want to deal with. Cassiopeia is a must ban on red. Skt T were happy to ban away target things because they will want to first pick Lucian if it's available, given that Teddy is now 3 games in a row with no deaths.
Yep.
Actually need to find the official game time for game number 1 to work out where we're at. I think it was around 23 minutes, 24 minutes, maybe
20,
25.
yeah, 20.
He was at 54 minutes without any deaths. He's probably around 80 minutes now, maybe 79 minutes with no deaths over the course of 3 games in the Casper Cup. Who will be the first person to slay Teddy? There should be a bounty before the game starts of 1,000 gold if you can take down Teddy. And Teddy says, ooh, look, it's a Lucian.
Well, he's going to first pick it once again, and so far we've actually had the picks and bans going exactly the same way as game number 1.
How about Lissandra Urgot as the next 2 picks for Skt T?
Ooh.
I'm a betting man. BBQ would have to
How about
that.
BBQ picking them away? Maybe they could actually just pick both of them and then do some.
How about dunking lane, baby?
Maybe Draven. Just throw him onto the bottom side of the map and smash that Lucian in the face. That is certainly an option, and they are going to lock it away.
You know what's pretty good against Draven? Lissandra.
Maybe they could pick Lissandra. Maybe we could go back to that one yet again.
Anything that makes him have to second guess catching an axe can be strong, and they're taking the power duo, baby. Draven and Thresh.
God.
Very strong 2v2 on paper, but we know that Skt T seems like more than some of their parts. Of course, Lissandra will be locked in here.
Surprise.
Good champion against Draven, just to catch him unawares. Come for the same sort of game, because it's blue side Lissandra once again. It's not even Lissandra on blue and red, it's blue side Lissandra both games. And look at this cool champion I found. It's Urgot.
Well, I mean, Urgot's going to be locked away. It means that BBQ can just lock in the Kha'Zix if they want to hide both of their solo lanes.
The post-game thread is going to be so good, or the preview thread for the next Skt T game against Damwon Gaming, because people are going to be like, just ban the one-tricks out. And you know what I mean? You can easily bait some people with that statement there. But
this Faker guy and this Khan guy that just play Urgot and Lissandra is so bad.
Dongjun, our Korean caster, just lost his mind. He got to a high octave there. Maybe he should try singing professionally, because he was surprised to see the return of the Orianna. Again, Orianna can out-trade.
Imagine if Autumn actually hit players with the Shockwave.
Well, imagine if Autumn could actually force Faker to stay in lane, because it was his roam bot lane that started the Ferris wheel of death on the side of BBQ. It was that roam into double W that really screwed BBQ's bot lane. They could never really recover from there. So making Faker more accountable, forcing him in lane, maybe with another pressure jungler pick, is probably the most you can hope for on the side of BBQ if you're willing to roll back this Orianna-Lissandra matchup.
Well, they certainly are willing to roll that one back. And look, Autumn did play a really nice Orianna in their second game in the first series that they played. See whether he's going to be able to jump back on the horse effectively as he runs it back yet again.
Can I draw your attention to something?
You can draw my attention to whatever you want.
No first round Kha'Zix from Malice.
Yeah.
Now, he had a Kha'Zix ban that led to eventually the Karthus jungle. Karthus is banned. His most famous solo queue pick, Malice's Evelyn, is also banned in this game. Thought he might fall back to that. Do they ban the Kha'Zix and then increase the likelihood of an LS special in the second round? Now, there's not many roles for Annie to take right now. And they ban the Ivern. This is something that LS has been talking about on stream as a big pick. And it's actually getting banned.
I think Skt T have been watching the patch rundowns.
Wow.
Because, you know, when we were talking about the Ardent Sensor buff, he was like, Ivern, best champion.
You know what's the counter to off-meta stuff you discuss on stream? Watching the stream.
Exactly.
LS outthought
Hard countered by Skt T yet again.
Coach, by the way.
Well, Gangplank is going to be locked in.
Friend of the broadcast, LS will enjoy that one. Listening back to the broadcast. Speaking of friends of the broadcast, Nocturne, a big favorite. Sometimes we turn out the lights. Seems like Clid going to be turning out the lights.
Clid was like, I want more engage range. How can I do more engage range?
He also sees a squishy top lane. He just wants to kill Gangplank. So,
and also wants to deny him the ability to see where to put the cannon barrage as well. It's got some multifaceted play options here available, as Mata is famous Braum. Famous or infamous, depending on where you've been watching the videos of Marta's Braum.
And GP, you know, in the best case scenario, farms out against Urgot. In the worst case scenario, gets killed a lot. So That could be tricky, and Nocturne's going to go top the moment he hits 6.
Can
There's
you
a
eat
spoiler.
oranges out of the grinder?
You can, but you won't be king.
Damn. So you can have a delicious citrus fruit on your way in.
But you will have a Nocturne.
You're still going to
You have a Nocturne issue, and then a gray screen issue.
A Nocturne and a
The issues...
Do we pause for that one? Or?
No, we do not.
Oh, dear.
Well, Skt T1, they've changed things up a little bit. Look at this. They've got a new jungler. How exciting.
Yes.
With
hey, and a
Nocturne.
new support, because that's not a Rakan anymore.
That's true.
That's
but it's not as exciting as the Nocturne.
No.
He has a good mustache, though, and I'm a man with facial hair now, so I have to admire people who are rocking out.
That is true.
The Draven Thresh, the highlight from BBQ. They tried the Varus and farm from safety, and that was stuffed by Faker. The Draven could still be stuffed by Faker, but Draven and Thresh can definitely do some interesting dueling in lane, but will the nameplates be on, or will the on-paper matchup be on in game number 2?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing that's quite scary, is the fact that this Thresh and Draven bottom lane should, in theory, as far as my solo queue games and how they go, if I see this lane, generally it's a 0-12 bottom lane by 10 minutes.
Is that what you're finding in Grandmaster?
Yes. In Grandmaster, yes, of course, yeah.
You're kind of a reverse Grandmaster.
I am definitely a reverse Grandmaster. However,
you're a man of the people, as I
am
like
a
to
man
put
of the people. I'm literally in the middle.
We're casting to the entire fan base. What's the point of talking about challenger games?
And if you think about it, I'm making eye contact with rapid casting over in the.
You are one kind of challenger. You are a Reddit challenger, my friend.
I thought you were going to say
challenger.
I thought you were going to say challenged, and I was going to agree with you.
We don't put out that kind of discussion on this broadcast. But we do have a small challenge to discuss. We have no coaching interview, so we're going to have a few moments before we load into game here to just have a bit of a chat with the people at home, the Christmas crowd. We saw big numbers coming in for the Kesper Cup in game number 1. A lot of people taking some time away from their loved ones or time away from the Christmas holiday.
Or maybe joining in with your loved ones to watch some Kesper Cup, which sounds like a beautiful Christmas spirit thing to do in an esports loving household.
What's more of a 2019 family than people on Twitter?
Well, I was going to
sandwich supposed to teams have been able to, at the end of the day, as you and I will be.
Certainly should. New matchup against game
parity.
A team of players that you know the players, but you don't know how they play together. And we're going to hop straight into game number 2, and let's see how this ragtag composition makes their way in. BBQ setting themselves up a little bit differently this time with a Draven on the bottom side. If there's ever a time where you want to get a little bit of domination down on the bottom side of the map, I feel Draven is a really good way of doing it.
Skt T opening up a little more passive here. We've seen some action at level 1s in some of our recent level 1s, but also the predictable inaction.
Previous series was certainly a little bit more action available as Khan. He's in a brush that he wouldn't normally be in.
Exactly. You wouldn't expect him to be that far advanced. You wonder if he would be so brazen to skill E level 1. It feels terrible for lane, but...
Surprise Urgot feels like probably one of the scariest possible options.
Especially because he's so apparent, right?
Yeah.
The idea that he could surprise anything is not ideal, but you know what he's really good at? Taking W level 1 and bursting down a ward alone.
Feels like Shyvana's back in the meta. Teddy is going to land
I got bad news,
blow under wind.
I got bad news.
What's that?
Well, BBQ's only thing they claimed in game number 1 was first damage dealt. They didn't get first damage dealt in game number 2.
It's bad news. Marta taking first. Real scary stuff here, but theoretically, with how this should shape up on paper, given the power of these two champions, the first few levels of the game, Draven Thresh should have a much better time than what they did last time, but I think a lot of it does come down to where Faker's going to be, where Klid's going to be, and this time around, Klid isn't going to have as much agency in the ganks as he did in game number 1 on the Zap.
And I wanted to talk about the Draven because there was a great interview translated by Ashley Kong on Twitter, one of the best LCK English content providers. The AMA with Bang that went up on Reddit, where he was asked about Draven, and he said this is a pick that for some reasons didn't specify it's not necessarily as suited to the professional game in Korea. We're seeing it in the professional game in Korea here. It's not quite as one-sided a trading matchup as Draven versus Sivir. That's kind of a very famous matchup where Spell Shield does nothing and Draven just runs through the health bar for days of the Sivir. There is definitely some counter trade potential available with a support if you're Teddy here on the Lucian, but it's still no range advantage for the AD carry over the Draven, so some painful life for Teddy in the laning phase at least. Now enough for a kill, probably harder to pull off, but definitely going to keep him accountable unless Lysandra just ends the laning phase with a gank like she did in game number 1.
Well, could be a thing that Faker is able to do. This time, feels like Autumn's having a little bit more luck in the laning phase. Managed to zone Faker away from a few minions there, and now does have at least the creep advantage. His hook is going to go wide, but Teddy kept accountable here, unable to just dash around freely, pick up everything that he wants, but very even on the farm. Wind versus Teddy, and that feels bad when you're in the winning matchup and for some reason the guy is just absolutely fine up against you. You do feel the pressure here. See whether the bottom lane of BBQ can continue to keep level-headed.
Definitely know there's not going to be much jungle presence. While we mentioned in game number 1 that Zach is one of the more farming junglers, he does at least have an ability to cause some ruckus with the Elastic Slingshot.
Yeah.
Nocturne a lot more min-maxing on the ult. And we're seeing in the mid lane how this matchup was going to go in my head, where the range advantage from Orianna, if she ever gets wave control, Lysandra's in that awkward spot where she either pushes back the wave or can't really freeze it in the right spot, and thus takes a lot of negative auto attack and ball attack move trades from the Orianna. So early game, much more comfortable for the side of BBQ, and at least they're getting to kind of sit down and adjust themselves before the action is kind of taken away from them like it was in game number 1.
Yeah, not happening this time as Ardent Blaze unable to pick up the minions here for Teddy, so we're continuing to have a good time on the Draven, just bouncing these axes around. Cleared top side of the map, just hunting for Malice by the looks of things. Only level 4, but that fear can be pretty impactful and is actually going to be able to spot Malice here, making his way through the rest of his jungle. Full clear complete for the Kha'Zix, taking down the Krugs on the top side.
Fed was looking for an angle there because Orianna spent so much time deep in the wave. Now he's looking to take away some Raptors. Auto attack.
Oh, Umbra Blades is going to be able to pick up most of the popcorn chickens, but the fear comes in now as Malice has to flash to get himself out of the way. And that was because the spell shield was there. If the Q came in for the extra isolation damage, it was just going to give Clid more attack speed.
And Malice really misplayed that interaction. Didn't even take the auto, but lost the little Raptors and his flash because his jump was on cooldown. Clid is hunting down the enemy jungler here. Not showing any respect for Malice, who was such a monster in his first series of professional League of Legends. Legendary on Kha'Zix in his first game. Here's Draven walking up with Thresh on the side as TP's coming in. Lysandra's coming in early.
Yeah, we're looking for another one as it's going to be the Lantern that gets Wind to safety. Clid says, guys, I was taking a Rift Scuttler. That's the important thing, is opportunistic plays. Of course, you still have to follow the teleport. So if you make them a little bit easier, it can be a better option here. You can guarantee that you're not going to die at least.
So it actually has to escort Faker back into lane. You don't lose too much time teleporting for that potential gank into walking up over the speed shrine or just teleporting back on the turret. But in that case, because the jungle was lying in wait, needed an escort, so Faker doesn't gain anything. So yes, it's pretty even his bot side.
Yeah, fight on the bottom side of the map. We are going to have at least the concussive blows landing here in favor of Skt, but it's not a big mana bar, and it's still Wind with a lot of control here on the bottom side. Taking Conqueror, actually, for those extended trades that Draven can utilize. Will make him stronger in the later game as well, taking down Khan, who will be very beefy.
It's always been the go-to keystone outside of maybe some resolve shenanigans when the grasp into demolish meta was there. Conqueror has always been the way because Draven's all about just catching axes, right? So you're always prepping the minions, so you always have Conqueror active to turn onto a champion. Even though you can't extend the duration because that's only a melee champion perk, it's not allowed for the ranged champions, you will always have Conqueror on the first Q or the first axe throw into the enemy. Speaking of first throws, here's the ult.
Yep, Paranoia going to come down. That's going to be first blood going over to the Nocturne. Clid presses R and someone dies. But now Malice coming in. Cannon Barrage is down as well. It's a really nice Q to come out from Mata to slow the encroaching Kha'Zix. And Khan is going to steal away a red buff on the other side of the map. Skt, still perfect game pace.
He doesn't even need to switch over to the Smite to take that one. He sticks with the Ignite and steals away the buff as the bot lane play happens. This is what an experienced league can do for you. First ult isn't top side, it's bot side to help out against the Draven lane. Thresh goes down. Malice is level 5, so even the Cannon Barrage can't allow for there to be any possible kills. You see the health bars, evolve Qs. Wasn't going to be enough to do the work.
Yep, now the back comes in. Bilgewater Cutlass picked up. And a set of boots there as well for Teddy. Now Malice looking to try and grab the first dragon here and the first objective that BBQ has over SKT that isn't just lane money.
This would end the perfect series and also be a really nice read from Malice. He knows that the enemy bot lane has gone back and he can see Faker in the mid lane. So taking down anything, especially an Infernal Drake, would be a very nice win for the side of BBQ. With red buff, the trades get even better for that Urgot. And the perfect series, it goes for the 24-odd minutes of game number 1 and goes over 30, but not too much further, as first Drake on the board for BBQ.
Yep, gonna be that Drake lockdown. So now, I guess, top side of the map is where SKT are looking with Paranoia. Almost back up again. Clit is gonna have an opportunity to threaten. If he can get a kill top lane or mid lane, it means that that Rift Herald going to be another fantastic option for SKT. Grab that one very early on in our first game. We've seen so much more priority on that Rift Herald very, very early. I believe in the Gen G game, one of the earliest that we've had so far was Peanut just waiting in the spawn point and just showing some dominance on his Lee Sin as well. So excited to see what SKT can do with slightly slower moving jungler, whether they are going to be able to get the priority here on the top side or whether BBQ can continue to be aggressive and punish by picking up these objectives. But Malice is going to be spotted on this ward. SKT know exactly where the jungler is.
GB has no lane presence, so the red buff was stolen. He can return and put down that ward as well. It's too easy to light up the jungle from the Kha'Zix. And now Urgot says, ooh, maybe a kill if I get the right combo down. Nocturne won't be able to ult top before the stopwatch is enabled. We're about 40 seconds away from that, and he's bot side of the map, so we won't see that Nocturne ult before stopwatch availability. We will see Faker consider his options, visual bug a bit, but still escape from the bot side and get a turret plate taken down, a single checkpoint taken down by SKT.
Yeah, one checkpoint in the bank now for SKT. They've got a passive 1,000 gold lead with just the first blood under their belt. But Wind now taking an awful trade, gets the shield from the Dark Passage, but that is not enough. Hook goes wide. Smarter just wanders out of the way. Pretty lively there for a relatively larger man in the Braum.
While Draven out-trades basically anyone, sometimes when your support's not on the same wavelength, scenarios like that can happen, where the Lucian escapes with a very nice instant burst trade. Teddy and auto-attack cancels. Is there a match made in heaven any better? So able to get in there. Nice trade. No lifesteal item yet. Usually you see Bloodthirster pretty early from the Draven. My source is Tyler 1 on this one. So lifesteal has always been the Draven way. The meta used to be, if you remember the Crystal days, the Last Whisper could be even pretty early in the build.
It was Bloodthirster into Last Whisper.
For just the if I catch all my axes, you're taking a hell of a lot of damage build.
Yep.
Malice bot side. And Teddy and also Marta have a deep ward down. So how about a free Rift Herald after all?
Yep, very, very easily. Starts it up at about 10 seconds past the spawn. And Clid will easily solo that one down. Warrior Enchant already in his back pocket. There's the flash, the weirdest flash I've ever seen from Marta, but he doesn't get the double tap follow-up from Teddy, so can't lock down Wind, who still had flash, still had heal. That was an aggressive move with all of the summoner spells now on cooldown from Marta.
So the theory there was they had the lane ward, they knew that Kha'Zix was back, and they said, these guys are too far down lane, let's just kill him while Thresh is Flash is on cooldown. They wanted to kill Thresh. They don't get him. He had a stopwatch. So I think for that reason, the play is wrong. Not just they missed skill shots. I think if the stopwatch was not there, you can go for that play, and it could be successful. They wanted to get 2 turret plates after the fact. Given the extra information, probably the wrong call, and certainly the extra...
Tabi now picked up for both of our 80 carries. There's double daggers to come in from Teddy, not quite towards his Blade of the Ruin King just yet. And as you can see, I think it's Wind picking up the... Stormrazor is item number 1 for the Draven.
Again, could still be Bloodthirster and then piecing together Stormrazor afterwards. Those 2 items usually are thrown into a build. Khan goes topside, and we knew this gank would come eventually.
Yep, Paranoia does come down. That's an immediate flash to come in. And Hokong says, well, I can't do that again.
Still has a stopwatch. Didn't have to use 2 tools in that case, only ultimate. And the more significant cooldown of the flash is not unavailable there. So again, because of the timing, could have bought Warrior and ran straight top, but he went for his red buff instead, and thus it's a post 10-minute gank. No success to that one. But Khan's been doing the team thing while also doing well in lane. And all Hokong has, as we can notice, is CS parity with the Urgot.
Yep, and a bit of fire as well, as Khan wanted to reset that summoner spell. As barrels are going to go off, and of course Khan not a stranger to this one as Malice jumps forward, does have the shield there, but that's an odd sustain interaction there as well as the shotgun legs aren't enough, and Malice picks up the first kill of the series for BBQ Olivers.
Too much disrespect from Khan. No surprise if you've watched his stream or watched him in pro play before. He's up too far. He's taken out. Good timing, and Malice predictably. There was definitely a bet as to who would pick up the first kill for BBQ in the series. It would have to be a betting man to say anyone other than Malice. He comes in, for once not spotted on a ward, which has been so often the case in this early game. And Khan's brazen advance finally punished.
The thing I really, really like about this, if you're an SKT fan, I want you to breathe a sigh of relief, because who have been some of the best SKT top laners? Marin, classic overextender, a fantastic one. Meanwhile, actually on the bottom side of the map, I'll hold my point. As an engage has started, the box goes down, but only one of the walls has been broken here as Wind has to be very careful, gets slowed down by Mata, but in the end, nothing going to eventuate. 1.2 thousand gold. It's going to be the lead here for SKT as the culling flies forward.
Trying to do his best Alistair impression on the Braum, but not putting it together for these engages and what's usually a peel support. It's hard to pull that one off as Thresh had his flash back up and stopwatch still available, but SKT still trying to find aggression where possible, and the two ganks bot lane are in service of a 16 CS lead against Draven. And we already know that Draven from behind is probably the worst AD carry to speak of. Mid lane.
The paranoia flies forward. Cleared is going to get shockwaved, but does have that stopwatch available. Faker picks up the turret aggro to try and keep his jungler alive, and Khan turns up in the nick of time, but is it going to be enough to save Faker? The ultimate comes down, and Faker's still alive until Zeus comes in and takes him down. Somehow, Autumn is still alive. He's got a stopwatch as well. Khan will be falling here as Clid wants to save him, but it's not going to happen. Double kill for the Thresh. Now Mata offers himself up to the gods as there's Command Protect. Autumn should survive this as well. And SKT just int into BBQ.
Calamity of errors in the mid lane. Lots of big names try to spare each other's blushes, but end up being dominoes to the slaughter by BBQ Olivers. Big moment for them. Watch the replay here. This is what happens when you Nocturne ult. You will be forced to follow. He flashes very early, and Faker's doing the bro status tier thing and taking the turret aggro to stop him being super, super low. But remember in this play that Khan doesn't have ultimate, so he can't finish off Malice and then get the fear from beyond death to get a secondary kill on Autumn. Stopwatch is used, and the stopwatches have been disregarded by SKT a couple of times in the post 10-minute phase. Mata tries to help. He can't even pick up the kill because the Command Protect is back, and SKT, plenty of egg on the face, and now a rare gold lead to the side of BBQ Olivers.
Well, Shelly is going to beat down this top lane outer turret. Zeus should come in, might be able to actually take this one out, as Shelly is going to suffer the wrath of the eyeball poke.
For all you stats buffs at home, one important thing to take away, Teddy continues his unkilled streak in the 2018 Kesper Cup. He is the only one of this team to have that stat. Clid also lived through all of that. Was joined by the second death coming out from Khan.
Well, Hukong needs to be a little bit careful, but does at least have a pocket Kha'Zix here. First turret is going to once again go over to SKT, which will even up the gold. We are in a very close game this time around, though. 16 minutes in, I believe it was inhibitor turrets being taken in game number 1. Now, we've got things very, very close. First Dragon for SKT to be taken as well. Another thing that we hadn't said in game number 1 after the 15-minute mark is it's going to be Teddy that helps take that one down as well.
He is the Stormrazor mainland. One of the reasons that people still might like start building a Stormrazor and go to Bloodthirster is that the problem for Draven in a game like this, where he's doing okay, he hasn't died, so he definitely has a lot of adoration stacks, is that one of the big issues that can come up is you look at SKT's team, a lot of people that can close the gap into Draven's face when he's trying to catch axes. You need the lifesteal to not just be chunked out of a fight and never continuing to frontline. If you go Bloodthirst, you have the overshield and a lot of lifesteal, and if you cash in, at least you have your ult, at least you have your base damages to trade off. The Stormrazor is for the 3-item power spike, right? That's why it was introduced into the game. And given just Draven's quirks and how much AD scaling he has because of his axes, there's a lot of risk to this build, and only being pretty conservative in a fight, tricky for Draven to do with this kit, into cashing in because of your allied play can really pay off the Stormrazor first.
We'll see whether it is just going to be the classic build going for the follow-up Infinity Edge afterwards with that 3-item spike that you're talking about, or whether he diverges. Which Zeal item as well is another question mark. I like Phantom Dance from Draven if I was to name one of them as a preference.
Given the opponents, you could understand the Phantom Dancer, but everyone kind of mainlines Rapid Fire Cannon when they feel like they can get away with it. We will hopefully be able to tell, as this game definitely doesn't look like it's going to be all done and dusted like it was early in game number 1. It's top side, level 11 on this Nocturne, so ult range pretty big already.
Yep, I like the position of Clit as well here. If they had have tried to protect that turret, would have been an answer from the Nocturne almost immediately.
A lot of character being shown by BBQ. Really good to see that they were able to, like we mentioned, shrug off game number 1, which was decided so early, and come back in. And that's even with SKT repeating the bot lane focus that they had in game number 1. Hasn't propelled them to a lead so far, or a meaningful one, I should say, at 18 minutes into the game. BBQ will kind of curse a bit that both kills in the bot lane have gone the way of the Thresh. No kill involvements, actually, for Wind of the 4 so far in the game. But the cash in when it comes in is going to be double digits and then some. Be a very, very big. If it's a gold bounce, if they take down the Lucian with the Draven, it could add up
that
to.
That number will be disgusting.
Are we ready for that? I hope we see a Draven meta just so we see a cash in of like 3,000 gold.
And I hope if we get a replay as well, Afrika can put it in slow motion.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be fantastic. BBQ able to take down their blue buff here, though, pretty comfortably. The other thing that I want to look at here is SKT playing from an even game position, which is something that we haven't necessarily seen so far. I mean, APK kind of rolled over. BBQ certainly did in game number 1. This time around, though, at 19 minutes in, it's a 4-1 kill advantage here for BBQ. It might be a gold lead for SKT, but that is standing gold still available here for BBQ. What is brilliant is the vision still available here from Skt. They're playing around the bottom side here with their Urgot pushing further up. Means that they've got a lot of blue vision in that side of the map there as well. It shows that Skt are still able to dominate that vision game so well. And when Mata was announced, that's what I thought was the most scary part, is having Koma, who's always able to orchestrate how to win a game so beautifully, and Mata, someone who's been fantastic at delivering on those sort of win conditions.
When it comes to win conditions, I'm thinking about BBQ, because like you say, they're definitely in the position to try to make this their game.
Yeah.
Issue with their team comp is they have Orianna, which usually think, okay, ball on a tank, let's go, get a big shockwave. Really isn't a tank here. There is, I guess, Zeus, who might be able to get into the backline as a ball carrier. The only other ball carrier is Kha'Zix, which might be his life just to get the ball into the enemy team. And that makes it tricky to team fight. I think a pure 5v5 team fight is hard for them to start. I think the best way to kind of flex the position in the game is kite back around an objective and then make Skt come to you. And you know what? They've got Lissandra, Urgot, and Nocturne. They have a comp built for going into the enemy. So that's something you could do. But to do that and actually have it be meaningful, you need a map control lead. You need control wards and maybe control over something like the Baron or an Infernal Drake spawn. And right now, they don't have that. They still feel like it's too risky to walk up and ward even close to the river, let alone the river. See, no wards in the river short of the ward put behind the pit onto the Baron that's being cleared out, or vision is being cleared out by the control ward placed down by Skt. And putting that together, right now the game state is, when does someone from BBQ walk up too far and get collapsed on by the Nocturne? It's not something that BBQ is actually controlling. Even though they're up 4 kills, gold lead is 1,800. CS is being missed because everyone's being respectful, and they're not actually pushing their position in the game. They're more waiting for Skt to make the next move.
Thing is, the numbers as far as CS aren't exactly awful here on the side of BBQ either. Things very, very competitive on both sides. And I was actually looking at where the map was and thinking, well, BBQ must be really suffering because their waves, they can't get to them, things like that. But then you look at the numbers and things are fine. So nice to see here from BBQ. Now, fighting around this Ocean Drake could be an option, but it's an Ocean, so we're not too worried about it. I mean, it's the first one of the game, so a bigger one here for KT as they start to pick it up.
Again, but you look at the mini-map, and we know the mini-map in this tournament has told us a story. There's an L-shaped control ward line all over Baron and even further up that hadn't been cleared. One ward just cleared now. The vision shows Skt winning dominantly, even though the game state we know is a lot more even, and there's an Orianna Shockwave that does huge work as this game goes on. So
it's a double pen Orianna here as well. I mean, a bit of a Showmaker build idea coming in from Autumn.
A lot of players have to learn to play defensively because they're so used to being rewarded for playing aggressively in solo queue. The reverse can be true. You can think you're more behind or more even than you actually are. BBQ is in a spot to make a good move around, and with all the voices we're hearing, we know that everyone here is amped up. We know the game-winning move might happen in the next 3 to 5 minutes because we're at 22. We know that's how things look. SKT walk up. They don't have the world's best siege. They do have pretty good dives mid lane.
Shockwave onto one. It's Teddy that's picked up with that one, but now the culling comes down and there's no way to interrupt it as Zeus takes the last couple of bolts, but it's not enough. Oh! The ultimate comes down from Khan to pick up the last tick of the kill. Doesn't even get Fear Beyond Death because he kills him with the initial damage. As Malice can't save anything else, and SKT just get themselves out of there. Blaze even lands onto Autumn. Insult to injury there, but you can see that control ward line that you're talking about so aggressively placed in the Baron pit, untouched here by BBQ after that one.
Don't have a Victor to poke from behind. Only the Kha'Zix evolved spikes is there to help in the Baron area. Like you mentioned, it's Marta's Ignite, and like you say, the initial damage, meaning you can't even arm for the super cool Urgot ultimate moment. Watching the replay here, just to pick onto Zeus, squishy on the Thresh, and goes down to that burst damage. So no bars on the screen, but a gray screen, the reward for Zeus.
Yeah, and Khan almost has that ultimate backup cooldown as well. Has a whole bunch of cooldown reduction with a couple of items that he's already picked up and has a lot of movement around this map as well as now the mid lane. Certainly the focus here from SKT is Autumn. Gonna run straight into Clid, but who's running into who? The flash comes down. Clid has to get the hell out of there. Teddy takes the opportunity to take some turret shots, and that is a sliver of health now for that mid lane outer turret.
With Draven revealed on top side, Clid thought there was no way that someone would face check him in that area, but BBQ come in. Able to face check. Here's Hokong and Zeus.
Now Clid doesn't actually lock down the blue buff there as Paranoia used to try and escape, but the hook lands and Autumn grabs the kill all too easily. Outer turret does fall in the mid lane, so I guess SKT theoretically trade up, but now they don't have their jungler with his very important ultimate, as now Zeus trying to get rid of Teddy, but Malice is right on top of him. Marta wants to come in for the support, but the ultimate from Faker is enough. Oh! Dodges out of the damage from the piercing light. It's a flash forward from Khan, and once again tidies up the Thresh. Has the extra shield, now Autumn once more. Oh, there's the double! A big cash in from Wind comes down. It was 500 gold as he locked up Faker with that kill, and now Teddy running for the hills. BBQ, game number 2, they look like a brand new team.
They're running on Baron. That was a really poor teleport coming through, or at least a really poor flank coming through from Khan. He was just in no man's land, turned on 1171 gold cash in after catching all those axes. And speaking of catching axes, they're trying to catch a Baron with them.
Yep, and then there's no Clid, at least not yet, as Teddy's diving his way out, but this might have been more than they can chew on the side of BBQ. Ultimate flies forward, gets one of the knockups as there's the ultimate, but it's only onto one as Marta gets an axe to the face. Malice comes forward, Teddy, he's dead. It's a double for Wind. Make that one, no, not quite a triple, but BBQ will take it. 5 members alive. 10-3 now and a 2,000 gold lead for BBQ.
BBQ coming from behind in a big way. So much gold in the inventory, almost an Infinity Edge straight up available for the Draven. Watch the replay here and take it all into account. They know Draven isn't there, so SKT says let's get a first kill and get out. Teddy doesn't get the kill with the flash. Hokong joins, and Urgot, while it's not a flank, comes from the backline, but then the rest of the team is already disengaged fully in this scenario. They can turn on him. Watch the Draven, 500, 1171, and 17. That adds up to almost 1,800 damage, 1,700-ish on the cash-in. That's a big injection of gold, and while it's not an IE, it's everything but.
That is just ridiculous. Now 3 items. We were talking about 3-item spikes. This is why, I guess, because you just build 2 of them at once. It's like a 2-item spike, but he's it's a very different scenario.
He's got everything, Atlas. Remember, you can QSS the Urgot ultimate. He has the stasis if he's turned on by anyone out, and of course QSS works onto that ult coming through from the Lissandra. So there's a lot of value. There's lifesteal coming through. It's not a bloodthirst to overshield, but it is some more implied tankiness. Wind wins out in a big way, and out of nowhere, he would have had the opposite of a bounty going on. Now there's a 600G bounty on his and Malice's heads.
Yeah, and there's a cheaper 3 items to come in from Teddy, but he hasn't actually finished them off just yet. So a big advantage in the AD carry position for BBQ, and we hadn't actually talked about it. Teddy dying for the first time here in the Kesper Cup, or here the first time in an SKT jersey. In fact, at about 24 minutes into this game, Paranoia does come down though. They do manage to pick up that stopwatch. Let's see you later, mate. That is not going to be an alive Hokong at all. Just caught in the wrong position, and now Marta's going to get hooked up. The box comes down as well. Teddy knows that his support is dead, and Wind picks up yet another kill.
Another cash-in for the Draven. Really slick stuff from Zeus, previously of Longzhu Gaming, against one of their old opponents in Skt T1. Teddy You can see he's feeling anxious. I think all of SKT understands now. It's sinking in. They might lose to BBQ Olivers.
Yeah.
Not even an LCK team any longer in game number 2. After the dream game, that perfect game in game number 1 with all the turret plates cashed in, we're suddenly in a spot where BBQ holds a gold lead over the SKT Dream Team at 27 minutes. A lot invested to get this kill. Takes a while, they get a TP. The ult there to disengage, but what I want you to watch is how slick this move was from the Thresh. Zeus, beautifully done, takes down the Braum. Marta too far up, and he has left something to be desired on the Braum in game number 2. This game's a close one, and Autumn says, how about a Medjai's against Faker and SKT?
Well, now we've got an Invisible Dragon. Just kidding. It's a Cloud Drake, and yeah, that's 10 stacks on that one as well. 1-0 and 8 for Autumn, who's had a very transformative experience on this Orianna this time around. Game number 1 wasn't great. This one, much better as Faker. Claw of Doom just not instilling as much fear as it used to.
Now, we mentioned already not the most ball carriers on the side of BBQ. We should also let's hold the point.
Yeah, Faker looking to try and just take down Malice, but doesn't have the burst available. Has to flash to get himself out, and he's just been picked off.
Self-ult, not available. He's dead.
Doesn't have it. Wind picks up that kill because they can deliver it to whoever they want. Stopwatch means that Faker was just one auto attack away.
Game state has changed. You can't just kill the first target anymore. They're far more behind in this game than they were in any of their previous 3, especially game number 1. We're on to Baron. I think SKT have to give it up. But they're going to try for something. Do they have spot vision?
They do. They managed to have a blue trinket down as Clid dives forward. Can they actually lock down the Baron is the question. Clid right in the back of the pit, but they just peel away. And Clid does have the flash, but that means Baron definitely goes over to BBQ. He is going to utilize it, and now they just hop back on top. It's a 2-man shockwave from Autumn. He sacrifices himself now as the Baron still in amongst this fight. What are you doing, BBQ? This is not how this play is supposed to go. Zeus flashes away out of the biggest player on the map, and that is in fact the Baron, or maybe it's Wind, as he picks up yet another kill. 3 members of SKT trying to slink their way out. It's Hokong. Can they actually find it? Okay, Barrel is going to get popped here as he gets stunned, and Teddy locks down that kill, but Baron back to full health, and SKT, I don't know how they didn't lose Baron in that exchange. They may still lose it now, but they're low health bars. A
juicy fiesta around the Baron. So many things to unpack. Even my play-by-play cast didn't understand why the Baron was still being leashed. We'll go along with this one. But the moment that he commits, Clid's job is, well, I got GA. I'm going to stick around the Baron and make sure they can't rush it down. And it proves to be the right decision for the majority at the start of this fight. When they turn onto him, he can flash over the back. And then this happens, where we're between a lot of different answers. A kamikaze attempt into the backline by the Orion. It's not worth it because no one's following up on it. Malice doesn't jump over instantly. It's towards the end of this piece. Wind is super strong, so he can chase down even the comically tanky Khan. Does go down eventually, but no Baron for a lot of kills is the exchange by the side of SKT.
And I was watching Clid as well. He was standing on the blast cone that whole time as well, waiting for the Baron to get low enough, but it never got low enough for that single smite to steal it away. Speaking of single smites, we do have the availability of the extra smite because of the unsealed spellbook here, if SKT can find another fight like that.
Wind is such a bro. His team in need of a ball carrier, in need of a frontline Draven ready to go. This guy's ready for the prime time. Guardian Angel and Mercurial Scimitar ready to go. I speak in jest, but certainly diving on top of his Nocturne feels like a waste because you can't really interact with him in a meaningful way. He has a cleanse, he has armor, he is not going to die in the blink of an eye. Look at the gold he's gotten because of cash-ins. 14.99 into 1,500 gold claim. Most gold in the game. Award goes to Wind. The Draven has worked out in a way we didn't expect. He's 6-0-1, working on his own legendary spree.
Well, that death going on to Autumn is actually one of the good news stories here for SKT. Cuts down that Medjai's to only 2 stacks after that one came in. But Malice goes back and buys a Lord Dominic's Regard, I think almost outright, as he's somehow a 3-0-5, replicating his first debut onto Summoner's Rift here in Korea performance.
And if I'm SKT, I look at this item build, which is pretty brazen, right? He's not gone for a QSS or a GA or even a Hex Drinker. He's gone for, man, if these guys run at me and then get distracted, I'm going to kill them on the back end. This is very much an enemy team made mistakes, and I was able to sweep in and clean up, as Kaz pretty much the closest to a cat build we're going to get on the Kha'Zix. Because of that, you know he's hunting for an Urgot in the sideline. You know he's going to be very late into a team fight, and that gives you a lot of information about how vision control battles will be fought around the back of the Baron pit. So you have to play towards your items, and Faker especially sees this and says, this guy dies post-haste to my now death cap Lissandra.
Well, he does now have a lot more damage, and maybe, just maybe this time around, he can actually one rotation the Kha'Zix to death, because that wasn't the case when he sort of suicided into BBQ earlier on in this game.
No IE in the build coming through from Wendy. Also is on the armor penetration hype train, working on... We'll see.
I like that, actually. With the flat damage scaling that you have on Draven, I feel like it's a little bit more of an option here as far as him as an AD carry in comparison to most others.
They have Morellonomicon, so they don't have as much incentive for him to not just go for the most armor penetration possible and go for Lord Dominic's. Grievous Wounds on Lissandra especially is a happy one if she ends up self-ulting.
Crazy thing is that Teddy is almost flame horizoning him regardless of the fact that he's so huge.
And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's not a consequential to
Oh, Zeus might be in trouble. He just gets popped. Teddy picks up that kill with his newly purchased Infinity Edge. Now Wind trying to assert his dominance, but Teddy will not be stopped. The flash forward from Faker, but the instant cleanse comes in. Fear Beyond Death, and that's going to be that. The Draven in amongst all of the SKT members. That's not where he wants to be. In the meantime, SKT all the way up, and Malice was doing the solo queue thing. He's taking the dragon saying, look guys, I got you something.
It was the pick of destiny. They might just end the game here.
Yeah, well, the inhibitor is going to go down in the mid lane, and BBQ was so good for so long. Now Malice, I don't know what that was, but you are dead, my friend. Slam dunk comes in from Mata, but it doesn't matter because Teddy had him already on the floor. Not a hope in the world in the end as SKT close out game number 2 and get the 2-0, but it was a much different experience than game number 1. Nexus dead, SKT 4-0 in Kesper Cup.
After a perfect game, it comes down to SKT pickpocketing the win for game number 2 out of BBQ. They stole their lunch money after styling on them in game number 1. Could you be any more disrespectful, you might ask, about